If your Whirlpool washer is stuck on sensing and just refuses to move on, don't panic. This is actually a very common issue, and in most cases, it's something simple and inexpensive to fix. In this video, we're starting with the easiest and cheapest fixes, then slowly working our way up to the tougher ones, only if we have to. I'll explain what each part does, how to tell if it's the problem, and I'll leave Amazon links to the recommended parts below the video, so you can easily check prices. Let's get into it. First things first, let's reset the washer. Unplug it from the wall. Wait about 3 to 5 minutes. Plug it back in and try starting a different cycle. This clears out minor electronic glitches, and you'd be surprised how often this alone fixes the problem. If it's still stuck on sensing, no worries. Keep going. Next, take a quick look inside the washer. If the clothes are bunched up on one side, or the washer is overloaded, it can't properly sense the load, and it will just sit there. Redistribute the clothes evenly, maybe remove a few items, and make sure the lid is fully closed and locking properly. Still stuck? Let's try one of the most overlooked but most effective fixes. Now, before you buy anything, there's one more thing I really want you to try, because it fixes a lot of sensing problems, and it doesn't cost a dime. It's called recalibration. Over time, the washer sensors can get confused. It loses track of load size, water level, or drum position. When that happens, the washer stops trusting its own readings and just stays stuck on sensing. Recalibration basically tells the washer, reset everything and start fresh. The button or dial sequence is slightly different depending on your Whirlpool model, so instead of guessing, I recommend watching a short recalibration video for your exact washer. I'll link a good recalibration video right below this one. If that didn't do it, now we move on to parts, starting with the cheapest and most common ones. The first part you need to consider swapping is the shift actuator. The shift actuator is what helps the washer switch between sensing, agitating, and spinning. When it fails, the washer basically doesn't know what mode it's in, so it just stays stuck on sensing. Common signs include clicking or grinding noises, the washer senses but never starts washing, and no transition into spin. The good news? This repair is actually pretty easy, even if it's your first time working on a washer. On a Whirlpool top-load washer, the shift actuator is located at the bottom of the machine, mounted directly to the transmission. To find it, look for the drive pulley and belt. The actuator sits right near that assembly. As far as cost goes, you're usually looking at about $30 to $60. I've put an Amazon link for the correct shift actuator right below this video. If your washer is stuck on sensing, this is one of the most common fixes, and a great place to start. Now we go to the second part, that you can replace if the problem is still there. During sensing, the washer is checking that water is flowing in properly. If the inlet valve is clogged or starting to fail, the washer never gets the water it expects, and that's why it stays stuck on sensing. Before buying anything, do the quick checks first. Make sure the water taps are fully open and the hoses aren't kinked or crushed. If all that checks out and it's still stuck, this is another easy repair. On a Whirlpool washer, the water inlet valve is located at the back of the machine, right where the hot and cold hoses connect. Pull the washer out, remove the rear or top panel, and you'll see the valve with hoses and wires attached. Cost-wise, you're usually looking at $30 to $50. I've dropped the Amazon link for the correct valve right below. The third part I recommend you consider swapping out is the water level pressure switch, also called the water level sensor. This sensor tells the washer when it has enough water. If it sends bad information, the washer just waits and waits. Before replacing anything, do this first. A clogged pressure switch or pressure hose can cause this problem. A quick cleaning is sometimes all it takes to get the washer moving again. If cleaning doesn't fix it, no stress. This part isn't expensive and it's pretty easy to replace. You're typically looking at around $25 to $45. I've included the Amazon link for the correct sensor right below. The next component that you may want to change out is the motor coupling. This little guy connects the motor to the transmission, and if it's worn out or broken, which is super common on older Whirlpool washers, the tub just can't move properly. During sensing, the machine tries a quick test spin, and if it gets no movement, it stays stuck forever. The best part? This fix is dirt cheap, like 15 or so bucks. Let me walk you through it real quick. Unplug the washer, pop off the control panel, and remove the cabinet. After that, pull out the pump and motor, then yank off the old busted coupling from both shafts. Next, push the new rubber isolator and metal hubs firmly onto the shafts. 4. Put everything back together, plug it in, and test it. Grab the upgraded part from the Amazon link in the description. The next component that you may want to change out is the start capacitor on the motor. If you suspect it's a motor related issue, and we'll talk about replacing the full motor later, start here first. This little capacitor gives the motor that extra kick it needs to start turning properly. If it's weak or failed, the motor hums but doesn't get going, and the washer can't finish its sensing test spins, so it just stays stuck. It's super affordable, usually under 20 bucks, and the install is really straightforward. Here's the quick rundown. 1. Unplug the washer and tip it back or remove the back panel to access the motor area. 2. Find the capacitor. It's usually a small cylinder clipped near the motor, with 2 wires connected. Carefully discharge it if needed, by shorting the terminals with a screwdriver. 3. Note how the wires are connected. Snap a photo, then disconnect them, and unclip the old capacitor. 4. Clip in the new one, reconnect the wires exactly the same way, put everything back, plug it in, and run a test cycle. Definitely worth a shot before spending big on a new motor. I've got a solid replacement linked on Amazon in the description. Check there for the latest price and exact fit for your model. The next component that you may want to change out, and this one's the big one, is the drive motor itself. By now, if you've replaced the coupling and the capacitor, and it's still stuck on sensing, the motor could have finally given up. A failed motor won't turn the tub at all, so the washer can't complete those little test movements and just hangs forever on sensing. Quick way to check: start a cycle and listen closely. If you hear a low humming from the motor, but absolutely no movement, yeah, that's a classic sign the motor is toast. This isn't a cheap fix like the others. A new genuine Whirlpool drive motor usually runs 100 to 200 bucks or more. And if your washer is 8 years old or older, it often makes more sense to replace the whole machine than to drop that kind of money on an aging unit. That said, if your washer is fairly new, or you just love this one, replacing the motor will bring it back to life. Installation isn't super complicated. It's similar to the coupling job, just a bit more wiring and weight. I've linked a reliable replacement motor on Amazon below, so you can check the current price for your model. The next component that you may want to change out is the drive belt. This belt wraps around the motor pulley and the transmission to transfer power so the agitator and tub can spin. If it's worn, stretched, torn, or even completely broken, or sometimes just slipped off its groove, the motor runs, but nothing moves down below. The washer tries its sensing test spin, gets no feedback, and just stays stuck forever. First thing to check: tip the washer back or remove the back panel and look at the belt. If it's loose or lying on the floor, you might get lucky and just pop it back on. If it's damaged, replacing it is still pretty affordable and one of the easier jobs on these machines. Here's the quick rundown. You will knock it out in minutes. Unplug the washer and lean it back safely against the wall to access underneath. Locate the old belt, loop it off the pulleys. It might take a little wiggle. Slide the new belt onto the motor pulley first, then stretch it over the big transmission pulley while turning the pulley to seat it properly. Double check it's centered in the grooves. Stand the washer up, plug it in, and run a test cycle. I've linked a solid replacement belt on Amazon below, and you can check the current price there. The final component that could be causing your washer to stay stuck on sensing is the main control board. This is the brain of the machine. It controls everything, including the sensing phase. If it's damaged or glitched, the washer simply won't move forward. Before spending anything, inspect the board. Look for burn marks, swollen capacitors, loose connections. Test fuses and relays with a multimeter. A single bad one can be fixed cheap. If it looks bad, a new board can save a newer machine.